and who runs for president, even as you respond to some of the issues you've raised.
Thank you. And just to conclude on the matter of whether Rigathi Gachagua is eligible to run for presidency with impeachment hanging on his neck or not, I think the best case we can refer to is the case of Wambora, who was actually impeached in his first term. Mm-hmm. It is not the Senate that lifted his impeachment. It was a court of law. Mm-hmm. And all the way, he was even able to run for a second term. So the issue of impeachment, we have a precedent in the case of Wambora. And so anybody trying to convince you that there are legal provisions that would prevent Rigathi Gachagua from running for presidency is economical with the truth, and especially the provisions of the law. And I hear lawyers talk about case law. So the case of Wambora would be a good reference point to determine this matter or to come up with a view on this particular matter. Now, yes, it's true that as we talk about the presidency, that we should also ask ourselves what we have done for our people, whether we have been able to execute our mandate and whether we have done what we were supposed to do when our people elected us. And I think that is something that is true, and the Honorable Sabina is right in that particular one. But then why everybody is fixated with the presidency is because that is where national resources seem to revolve around. And if you listen to the people of Nyanza, for example, they will tell you, and they are saying it every day, that since they got into broad-based project this has come, project that has come, this has come. Why? Because they are in an arrangement with the president. And so it behooves upon all of us then to ask ourselves, what type of a president should we elect? What processes are there to enable every other part of this country to benefit from the national cake, whether or not they are supporting the president? And so you cannot reduce the matter of the presidential elections, the upcoming presidential elections, to what have you done, you who is talking about this particular matter. Talk about the case of a senator, for example. The senator carries out 3 functions strictly. And you have heard Honorable Sabina did not mention about inequity that the Senate operates. It is oversight, legislation, and representation. But I think it's important that we make our leader, we also educate our viewers on especially the kind of oversight of county funds. Because there has been a fallacy and, misleading statements that the senator is supposed to oversight, but a senator of any county, and I challenge my sister Sabina to refute this. The senator of any county can only do secondary oversight. The senator has no power under the Constitution to prevent a particular project from happening in their county, or to approve or disapprove any particular program or use of funds in the county. That is the role of MCAs, because the MCAs in any particular county assembly will have to approve of any particular county government program. The county assembly will have to approve the budget that the county government presents to the county assembly for approval. So the senator does not play a role on that, and that has to be made very clear, because people who like fighting senators will tell you, this amount of money was spent in this particular manner, and the senator was still there. The senator has no power to prevent it from happening, but the senator can point out that this was not done appropriately, but he cannot prevent, because there is no consultation or expectation that the senator approves or disapproves, and I know I'm repeating that particular one. Now, you are told here by Honorable Sabina that you cannot just sit there and criticize, that you can make laws in either house, the National Assembly or the Senate. And it is true. But then, before any particular law is passed, of course, it has to go through a vote. And I can tell you, Fred, if it is something, it's a law that is not government friendly, it will not see the light of day. One, even a bill or a particular motion may not be approved by the Speaker if the Speaker is not friendly to you. And we know, especially the Speaker of the National Assembly, nobody doesn't know where he leans, which side he leans on. Number two, nobody doesn't know that the numbers in either house are controlled by William Ruto, because especially when they came together with ODM.
I gave you an opportunity to respond to that, but I don't want us to digress and talk about the issues about Gachagua and his candidature as president.
And it's a circus.
Yes, because I don't want us to get confused. I know that's a good debate you're having there, but allow us to go back to this and looking at it politically. Even the side that you speak for, Fwamba, you appear very...
For inside, I speak for the truth only.
Fine, I speak for the truth. You appear a bit uncomfortable with Rigathi Gachagua's candidature. Why is that? Is it because he's a formidable contender? Or why do you feel that he should not run for president?
Not really. There are those ones. It's not supposed to be my opinion or my position. The law has already said that he cannot run. According to the status quo, as things stand today, he's not qualified to run as per the operational law that I stated. The Wambora case is very different from Gachagua's because for him, he was reinstated by the court. And then again, in between, there must have been an injunction, something that Gachagua failed to get. So Gachagua did not get the injunction to keep him in office. That's one thing. Then we cannot predict the outcome of the courts, that they will allow him to continue being politically relevant or not. What I'm seeing here is a circus, actually a melodramatic script written by Cleophas Malala continuing to play. Because Gachagua knows very well that the best thing that happens to him is when he's enjoying this kind of airtime. And he has actually achieved it now that we are discussing him. All that he's doing right now is just to remain in the news, to be relevant, eventually have a few candidates running on his kiosk of a party. And I think from there, he also wants to have a say. Remember, he has kept on saying that he wants to be like Raila. So he thinks through that he can bargain, maybe in the future, negotiate around and get back to be relevant in politics by having a few members of parliament under his party so that they can influence one or two things for him. But as far as things or the situation stands today, he's only trying to push this kind of narrative to hoodwink people to start to continue considering him as a leader.
All right.
But politically, he doesn't qualify to run for any office.
Yes, because he initially had painted a picture that he was going to be probably the kingmaker behind the scenes. Why do you think he made the decision to vie? Is it to up his stake within the united opposition? Why do you think he chose to do that right now?
I think I can't say that he made the decision to vie, but I said he made a decision to say he's vying.
Yes.
So first of all, let me say before I go there that for the first time I agree with my sister, Sabina Chege, when he asked the question, which I told you the main question should be the overall question than going personal, and I agree with you that we have to ask the tough questions. How has the current president performed? Which kind of people around him, how are they performing? Do they have the moral compass to even say who should be president or not? And maybe Senator Newton might think that's not a discussion, but it's a very important discussion because there are so many people who are receiving a lot of funds and they're just making noise the president has failed. And the shift is shifting into pointing at one person. Other people are getting away with the murder. Murder here means with a lot of misappropriation of funds. But going to your main topic is that what is happening is that if you look at it from political strategic point of view, I'm one of the members of the United Opposition, though you don't see me running around with them, but I am there because the People's Restorative Justice Commission is actually under United Opposition. And whether you want to say it's constitutional or not, we are doing work which people who have constitutional mandate are not doing because history is full with books of commissioners, panels set up that are doing nothing. So we are doing what needs to be done. The only thing we are doing, we cannot use state funds to do what we need to do. We have mobilized our own funds to do what Kenyans need to do, and what matters is that the job gets done. So in United Opposition, when you see Gachagua going to the US, they were trying to look at everybody, how they're behaving. That's why you saw in this cartoon, everyone says the ground says I'm the one, the ground says I'm the one. So the question is, should you run because the ground says you are running? And who is the ground? How do you measure this ground? And I think that my first point is that I think the united opposition that I belong to have not quantified the risk of Ruto becoming again a president in 2027. And maybe that's what Gachagua must have been triggered with by saying, hey, I'm looking at my fellow players and I can't see who is fit really. And should I also just throw my hat in the ring to tell them, hey, don't think it is given? Because if I tell you I'm going to make you a king, you can go to bed and sleep, isn't it? And said, well, Gachagua is going to work for me. Like, for example, when Gachagua said I can make you a king and he has 7 million votes, and you think that he has been castrated, he cannot run, then say, by the way, let me remind you that the Constitution that actually stopped me. And Fred, if you read the Constitution faithfully, there are different called constitutional and legal. Constitutionally, there's nothing stopping Gachagua from running. But legal provisions might be the barriers to it. Mm-hmm. I remember, Constitution are what has been done in 2010, but legal are things trying to interpret the Constitution, and sometimes the Constitution can overrule. Let me take you the case of Sakaja in Nairobi. To run for governor, those things saying degree and the rest actually are not in the Constitution. So the legal provisions could stop him, but the Constitution doesn't stop him. Okay. So what happens is that the jurisprudence of the court that will sit might say the Constitution sits at the apex of legal provisions and therefore he can run, okay, because there's something in the Constitution which is there. Until you exhaust all your legal mechanisms, and I've actually read it again, it's not a finality. Impeachment is not like a death, mm-hmm, because he still have rights. So he still has a right of life, he can still exercise this one the way he wants. But for me, the most painful thing is that if we can quantify this problem, because I've heard people just saying, like I hear, for example, if I quote one of the leaders of the United Opposition, Kalonzo Musyoka, he has been making a certain statement very consistently, that one term, isn't it? He says one term is an eventuality. One term will happen, isn't it? No, it won't happen. It must be made to happen. Okay. And they are shouting and saying, Gen Zs can't vote for this guy. No, you can't leave it to Gen Zs. But you have to front yourself and say, bring your policies, come forward and demonstrate your electability. That's why Gachagua in Githurai said, I am fit to run, so that those people don't go to bed saying, you'll make me president.
All right,
because this is one of the things that could be derailing some people by thinking, he can't run, so I'll just gain from Mount Kenya vote because Gachagua can't run. Right. Yes, he can run. All right.
Just before I give you an opportunity for your final comments, allow me to just go through some of the views on this matter from our viewers. Maina Wamodhoni says Gachagua has it all to become the 6th president of Kenya. He's ready to restore the dignity of this country. Honorable Willie Mutunga, but this is not the former CJ, he's called @Sawilly on X. I would vote for him just to remove the situation we are in currently, but not sure whether it will change anything, but at least there will be change of power. Kimosop Korir says, is he even fast fit to run for political seat, he asks, unless we use a different constitution, but still, he won't be a choice. Mokua Freddy says, king of shareholding, it's like jumping from frying pan to hot fire. Sharon Kananu, it's not possible. I thought the so-called united opposition has a plan. It's all about self-interest, not about the people. Kalen Nyakio, if Gachagua was in government, hizi kelele zote hazingekuwa. And finally, Eugene Fuller says, no, I wouldn't vote for Rigathi Gachagua in 2027 because of his leadership style, controversies, and limited national appeal, raises doubts about his ability to unite and transform Kenya effectively. These are just some of your comments. We have a poll on X, and we're asking Rigathi Gachagua as a presidency in 2027, would you vote for him? 54% say yes, 29% say no. Those are the final results from that poll. And I think one more. Bamku Abshir says, true, Sabina, I think is on one of the responses you gave. Someone is in agreement. David Susa, let them answer that question. Is Gachagua qualified or not? Na mwingine anauliza wapiga kura waache kuchagua watu juu ya mtu fulani. All right. Thank you so much for your comments. And continue. The conversation definitely continues online, even beyond this show. I want to give you each about a minute or so for your final comments. Let's start with you, Fwamba.
Just before I get to that, I saw Prof mentioning about 7 million votes. I believe that was hypothetical because as far as I'm concerned, the elections have not been held yet, and it's not determinable on who is going to get what votes or who has what kind of following. I do not think if like Honorable Sabina Chege is part of the 7 million supposed votes of the so-called Gachagua's candidature.
Okay.
And I insist that based on the constitutional provisions, Gachagua does not qualify to run for an elective seat. Whatever is being mentioned here politically is to just make him relevant for certain political benefits. And those ones who are fighting President Ruto in particular, for me, I believe are people who are uncomfortable with the kind of changes that he has created. There are people with this kind of shareholding mentality that wanted to continue having the country having that kind of skewed development. And they are unhappy right now that the government is implementing projects all over the country, whether in Mount Kenya, whether in Western, whether in Northeastern or Nyanza. It is now a whole country kind of interest that the president is pushing. And I think that's applaudable.
Thank you so much. Fwamba, Sabina Chege, you go next.
Thank you very much. As I conclude, I want to tell Senator John Nyoto that he has a role of oversight, though not direct. Senators are supposed to complement what the MCAs are doing. They have a role to scrutinize the way the money that is dispersed to the counties, how the money is being used. They can summon governors, and I think I saw, was it Senator Omtata? He had done a very good job. He had looked at how his county has used the money. He had done an analysis, and he had also petitioned his governor. So you don't have to wait for the MCAs to impeach the governor. The senators have a role that they can also raise questions on how the money or the oversight of the finances at the county. But having said that, let me say that one day in politics is a very long day. And I want to tell the so-called united opposition, do not underestimate the power of William Samoei Ruto. I think William Ruto won when he was fighting or he was competing with the state. And so it is not obvious. I've had my friend here say that the risk of Ruto becoming. I think he needs to wake up to the reality that actually Ruto might become, and there's a possibility, and especially when you have an opposition, that they are all fighting for a specific position, and they have no agenda for Kenyans. So the first thing is that they need to have an agenda, and they also must settle down and agree, because I may say I'm suitable, the other one says I'm suitable, so they can subdivide all those votes that they are counting that they have. And number three, also don't assume, when you talk about 7 million voters in Central Kenya, do not assume that everybody in Central Kenya is backing one individual. And we have 2 years to go. So I would say let the best man win. Let's put all our best foot forward. But most importantly for us who have a position now, let's not promise our people what we'll do in 2027. Let us do it now.
All right. Senator, go next.
Thank you. Maybe because Sabina has said that I have a role. I have not said that I do not have a role. I only said there is primary and secondary oversight. I think she did not get that. And so I was not escaping from my role of oversight. I was just saying there are things that people have been misled to be done by the senator, and there are things that the senator does. So the thing is the difference between the meaning, between primary and secondary. Well, I think I would want to tell my brother Fwamba, you know, every time Gachagua is mentioned, he's laughing sarcastically. I want to tell him that he should have some respect for people and not be dismissive and contemptuous of people. I mean, probably this is the first time people have heard about him. Gachagua is talked about every day. You cannot dismiss him by such a sarcastic laughter. He said that Gachagua is just trying to get a few seats. Does he understand what a few means? Gachagua is not going to get a few seats. He is going to get very many seats. And so it's important that people respect others. You know, I heard him say that Ruto has brought change. Yes, he has brought change. Reduced capitation from 22,000 to 16,000 and now 15,000. That for Fwamba and the particular side he supports is a very big change. That we are having billions being stolen from SHA That's a very big thing that is being done. That you have had young people being, arrested and killed for FWABA. That is big things. And the one very annoying thing is to say that FWABA, you need to learn good. You need to learn good manners.
Just allow him to make his
FWABA,
Senator.
You need to learn
Senator.
good debate manners.
Our time is
Then one thing that he said that is very, very sad and must not go unchallenged is to say that there are some people who have some shareholding mentality.
Okay.
Nobody has prevented President Ruto from carrying out a project anywhere.
Okay.
And when people point out at bad things that President Ruto is doing, somebody cannot say that those people have a shareholding mentality.
Thank you, Senator.
So, let's debate issues when we come here. Okay. And it's important, Fred, and you know that when you invite people here, tell them that they are supposed to wait for the others to finish their submissions before they interject.
Thank you, sir.
We have to have good debate manners.
Thank you. We only have about 60 seconds for your comments. Only 60 seconds, Prof.
Yeah, thank you very much, Fred. Mine is simply to say that it's time for generational change. And I want to address the Kenyans by saying that over 2 years ago, Kenyans flocked in the streets actually on 25th of June, led by the Gen Zs, and they were demanding accountability, they demanded good governance, they demanded economic liberation. Of course, they were met with state-sponsored violence, police brutality. So what was supposed to turn out to a bullet revolution was not done, and now I'm urging Kenyans, let's move to ballot revolution. Okay. So on 28th of September this month, we have a date with destiny. And I want to urge Kenyans from all walks of life, flock into IBC registration centers, register and participate in this revolution you wanted by first of all getting the most precious item for your sovereignty, which is the ballot, so that you can use this very instrument to vote out this grossly corrupt and grossly incompetent government and change the destiny of your nation and use the standards which have been mentioned on this show. Thank you.
Professor Fred Ogolla, Commissioner, People's Restorative Justice Commission, Asante Sana, former NC Former political analyst, MP Sabina Chege, and Senator Muranga Joe Nyoto. Thank you for your time at TV47. Also to thank our viewers who are watching us on YouTube, TV47 Kenya, on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. On X, our handle is at TV47 Digital. A look at the dailies this morning.